Donald Trump went to Kenosha, despite the fact that very few people on the ground seemed to want him there. The leadership of the state didn't want him there, but he wasn't gonna be stopped. And so he went, and it was presidential in the way that Donald Trump being there would be. Here's his intro.
It's a great honor. If you feel more comfortable, you'll say a couple of words. You might want to take the masks off. Otherwise, you can leave them on. Either way you want. Look how fast you took.
Yeah. Just if you want to take them off, you can take them off. They know that they could, but yeah, just encourage people to take it off. They're sitting all around you. Why would they wear a mask? I mean, why? Why?
Because as many people are saying, to try and absolve him of all of his beliefs and the way he's approached this entire pandemic, Donald Trump is serious about mask wearing now because he said it twice, and then 278 other times he said the opposite. So you take whichever one you think is the truth.
Exactly. It doesn't matter compared to all the other horrendous things he said. I just wanted to just briefly put a pin in it. He's encouraging people to take off their masks because of course he is, because the pandemic's done. You idiots, why do you think there's still a pandemic? Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But he's got a new line. It's like how comedians have new bits, except instead of it being a funny thing that distracts you from life's stress, it makes you long for the end, which looking around California seems to be here. So here he is on cops, the bad apples and the chokers.
You have some bad apples, we all know that, and those will be taken care of through the system. And nobody's gonna be easy on them either. And you have people that choke. They're under tremendous, I said it yesterday, I said it last night. They're under tremendous pressure. And they may be there for 15 years and have a spotless record. And all of a sudden they're faced with a decision. They have a quarter of a second to make a decision. And if they make a wrong decision, one way or the other, they're either dead or they're in big trouble. And people have to understand that. They choke sometimes.
Okay, so that's a thing that I could have missed one, I don't know, but he started saying a couple of days ago, and that's his new thing, despite the fact that it makes absolutely no sense, despite the fact that he tried to compare it to a golfer making a putt, despite the fact that the cops frequently do choke people to death. JR, that's his new thing. Let's not get down on them, they're just choking a bit.
Just choking, it's just their job to go out there and make split-second decisions, whichever percentage of the time they make the wrong decision. And when they make that wrong decision, someone else dies. He somehow completely neglected that part of it. So the cops have to make an immediate decision. If they make the wrong one, then they kill someone. After they make that wrong decision to kill someone, they move right along. And by the way, this is more of the lip service. So if any of them make a wrong decision, whatever bad apples, people do something wrong, they get taken care of, and they get taken care of strongly. Follow-up question, Mr. President, how, when, and what is it that actually happens to these cops when they make the wrong decision and they get held responsible strongly? What does that mean? What cases did this happen in where they get handled strongly, besides the 3 that we heard about where they actually were handled strongly? Has it happened yet with Breonna Taylor? No, it hasn't happened yet with Breonna Taylor. Has it happened with these last few things that have sparked all these protests? No, it hasn't happened there either. But they're handled strongly just because he said so. Ignore the reality and listen to what he said, that they just, because they're handled, and they'll be handled strongly. So also he's pushing this line of choking out, as you mentioned. He first floated that on Laura Ingram's show. And even Laura Ingraham, who was his unofficial advisor along with Sean Hannity, said before he could finish that ridiculous point, she said, well, you don't mean golf. You're not comparing it to golf. She didn't ask him, she goes, Trump, you're not comparing it to golf. It was like one of those nodding things. You're like, let me get the dummy to realize that this is a bad analogy to make. You didn't mean that, right, Donald? And he goes, oh no, I didn't mean it that way. I'm just gonna say it several more times. You should start listening to your advisors. Your Fox News advisors.
I mean, she's protecting him, I guess. But yeah, and just every time I hear it, and you're gonna hear it, 100 times over the next 3 months, because he can hold like 3 thoughts in his mind. And one of them is always gonna be, could someone get me a Diet Coke? So there's only room for like choking and one other thing. maybe the thing about Sarah Huckabee Sanders and how he thinks that she should sleep with the dictator of North Korea. I don't know. We're not gonna talk about that as a full story because I just can't, but I have to mention it because I gotta get it out of my brain. That happened. Anyway.
You know who else? Sorry, you know who else chokes, John? You know who else chokes? Sometimes doctors choke when they're on the operating table. Sometimes doctors don't choke when they're on the operating table, and sometimes they're underqualified. Sometimes maybe they're being irresponsible. Maybe they're doing some radical different approach. Maybe they just don't feel like it that day. Maybe they're tired. Whatever reason it is, doctors make mistakes, and there's this thing called malpractice. So sometimes doctors get in trouble for the things that they do when they do it wrong, and someone dies under their care. And I don't remember a big coalition of people saying, "Free the doctors that have that are up for malpractice claims," and that they killed a family member lying on their operating table. Maybe they choked. Okay, let's move on. Maybe they choked while they had someone cut open, and then they allowed them to die on the table. Maybe that happened, and we should just move along.
Well, and
it's not the way it works.
There's so much about this that just makes me so mad, and I hate that we even have to talk about it. But you choke in situations that have high stakes that don't actually mean anything. Making a basket, something like that. Not if I miss that free throw, my forward doesn't die. That's not generally how it works outside of sci-fi. That's just not what it is. And here's the thing. Let's say that Trump is right, which feels weird. I feel a little bit queasy. If they are just choking and it's like, God, the pressure got to them. How about this? Let's not have them have guns. That way, if they choke, nobody gets shot. I think that's an interesting way to look at it. If high pressure situations lead to a bunch of people unfortunately, unnecessarily, and tragically getting shot, maybe take the gun away. Much harder to shoot a person without a gun. I've run the tests. It's really hard. But of course, he doesn't actually care about the metaphor or about anything. And also his line there that there's bad apples and we're not gonna go easy on them. When have you even heard them bring up one of the bad apples except to turn people away from this talk about systemic reform? Like that when people get really mad about it and they're like something needs to be done, then suddenly it's, oh no, there's some bad apples and we're gonna take it really seriously. Are they the ones that get outraged when people get shot in the back or choked out? Or are they clearly only playing defense for the police? You've watched this situation countless times. You might have seen it in your own life. You certainly see it on TV if you're lucky enough not to. And you know what this is. They don't give a damn about the bad apples or the good apples. They're just playing defense because they don't want reform.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.